Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Asian Blokes Podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with H, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Tavi. Hello, Tavi.
Hey, Dan. What's up?
Not much. How you doing?
Yeah, just eating these fucking mini papadum things.
Mini papadum things?
Yeah, you get them from Coles, like, in the Indian section. And it's just like, yeah, just basically papadum chips. And they're really good. They're very addictive. They're, because, like, I find these days if I'm eating, like, really strong flavored, like, you know, barbecue chips and stuff, which I usually ate back in the day. But, like, I find when I eat quite a bit of them, like, the flavor kind of gets caked in my mouth and it becomes a bit unpleasant.
Right.
But, like, papadums are really light, so it's just, like, yeah.
Yeah, I've always found that with like, flavored chips. You know, I'm a original chips kind of guy. Or salt and vinegar.
You hate flavor.
I mean, yeah, I guess I like muted flavors more.
You like meats and muted flavors.
Yeah, I like the taste of salt. I think it's good.
Yeah, sometimes I like something muted, but then sometimes I want something a bit more rich. You know, sometimes I like a wood fire pizza with like a, potato and basil and cheese, like really, pancetta, like really, traditional shit. And then sometimes I just want to go to, Smoking Joe's and get a fucking barbecue meat lovers.
Gross.
I like Smoking Joe's, man. Smoking Joe's pizza's good. It's that kind of like just slightly better dirty pizza than like, Domino's or Pizza Hut. Yeah.
I like
but you
Domino's.
hate pizza though.
I don't hate pizza.
You hate pizza.
That's a lie.
Dan hates pizza, everyone. Dan's just like, every time we go and suggest pizza, Dan will grab either who suggested it by the scruff of their necks and pin them against the wall.
You shut your mouth.
And pull out his switchblade, hold it to our throats. Kiefer Sutherland style from Stand By Me.
Yeah.
It's like, I dare you to say that again. But yeah,
pizza's all right. It's not my favorite. I'll admit it's not my favorite. It's weird. I wouldn't say I'm a picky eater either. It's just I'm very specific in terms of what I want to eat.
The opposite.
That's exactly what a picky eater is, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm open to try anything. It's just I know what I like. And barbecue chips is not what I like.
You're not a fan of anything too carby, is what I've noticed.
Definitely take meat over carbs. Yeah. I'll scrape your carbonara into the bin, Tavi.
Yeah, no. I cooked your carbonara and you threw it into the bin.
It's not what I wanted, Tavi.
You threw it.
Try
you
again.
Ate like a few handfuls. Couldn't even fake it, you know.
It's just so rich, man. It's so rich. It makes me full very quickly.
Carbonara is awesome, man. I might make some over the weekend.
Nah, spaghetti and meatballs all the way.
Spaghetti and meatballs is good, but like,
It's better than carbonara.
Where
do you guys stand in this debate? Is it spaghetti and meatballs or carbonara? Yeah, leave a comment.
Both which have nothing in bearing to what we're going to review today.
Now, this is the food content that we always promise again, Tavi. Last week we did seaweed, now this is the spaghetti talk.
Spaghetti and papadum talk. Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
So, Netflix, I guess, just released the Tekken Bloodlines anime. So it's basically covering the Tekken 3 storyline. For those that don't know what Tekken is. It's basically one of the...
Where have you been if you don't know what Tekken is?
Yeah, that's very true.
Huge. It's one of the most popular fighting games ever since the PS1 era, right?
It revolutionized the 3D fighting games.
Yeah, like, OG 3D fighter.
Yeah, we've had quite a few memories with Tekken. We spent a lot of nights hanging out playing Tekken till like the wee hours of the morning during our like sleepovers, I suppose.
Yeah, we don't play much of it anymore, but back in the day, it's the biggest waste of time that we had at our disposal. And
that's true.
We played the shit out of it. We were never very good, like competitive standards wise.
No. I don't know how to do Korean backdash.
Yeah,
like most professionals.
But
do.
I think because we were all the same standard, it made for really fun, gameplay.
I remember we played 113 matches one night when we crashed. Mm-hmm. It was more than just us. It was quite a few of us, but we just played the fucking shit out of it. Take it non-stop.
It's like the games are quick, and then you pass the controller on, or whoever lost pass the controller on, and you can the character roster is quite large, so you can just keep playing and playing and never get bored of it.
Yeah, and as we got older, we started introducing alcohol to the losses. Take a shot if you lose. Yeah. So that was fun. I remember I think Tekken 5 was probably the one that I played the most.
Oh yeah.
And got I guess decent enough for our circle of friends, I was training at home trying to do all the
10-hit combos.
All the 10-hit combos, and I learned all the juggles as well.
Yeah. But then when you get into the actual ring with people that are just button bashing, and all of that goes out the window, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah.
All that training.
Yeah. That's true. I was at another mate's party. We had another sleepover, and I was schooling everyone in Tekken. And then my friend's little brother was like, "Oh man, you're really good. Let me have a go." Just picks fucking Eddie Gordo, fucking spams. Just fucking so spams.
I mean, who hasn't been beaten by an Eddie Gordo player that's just smashing the buttons? Yeah.
It's funny because Eddie Gordo is considered a pretty low tier character now.
Sure.
Amongst the pros,
I think there's a standard though. There's a standard of play where you feel like you're pretty good, but you still have no way of defeating an Eddie Gordo button masher.
Unless you're a professional Tekken player, and then get out of
that shit out of here.
Yeah. I wish I was still good at fighting games. Because I watched some of the Tekken Evo rounds. And I've been getting into Guilty Gear recently. I'm horrible at it. There's just so many things to learn that I can't be bothered. And I just like listening to the soundtrack of Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah. But I tried to get back into them. I tried to get into Mortal Kombat and Injustice because I kind of enjoyed the crunchy feel of those fighters. But it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard.
Yeah,
it's a hard learning curve, a steep learning curve.
Mortal Kombat, I find, is a lot more precise with its button inputs than Tekken.
Right.
It might be that I'm more used to Tekken, but you can sort of get away with pushing the buttons a little bit ahead of time, so it's easier to pull off combos. Whereas I think Mortal Kombat is really tight on its frames, where you gotta press it at this specific moment.
Right.
Because I'll watch professional Mortal Kombat players, and then I'll just be like, man, how the fuck did you string all that together? Mm-hmm. Because the move list is quite small in a lot of these games. But then it's you need to figure it out. But this day and age, we unfortunately don't have time to do that anymore.
No. And that's the thing, fighting games, they're fun to play casually, but they take a long time to master. And I mean, this might be getting sidetracked a bit, but it's just we have so many fond memories of playing the games. Even when we were in Japan, I remember we were playing them at some parties.
Yeah, we bought them on our PSs, and you come over and play. And
it's a game that kind of anybody can play. Anybody can pick up. You immediately know what's going on. Even somebody that's never seen Tekken before, they can scroll through the character lineup and kind of just choose based on just the visual appearance, and then it's pretty forgiving, I think, for new players as well.
I
Tekken,
think so,
compared to other fighters.
I have a feeling, I'm not sure if this is a real memory or not, but when we were at your house, one of our Japanese friends who had never played the game but knew of it, like picked up the controller, and then I played against them and they schooled me.
Yeah, they were just unbeatable. No, I remember that. Yeah, like nobody could dethrone them.
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? No,
It's in their blood, Tom.
Yeah. Before we actually talk about this show, who's your character? Who do you play?
I've gone through phases. Like, I think probably Brian, Law, and I want to say Lei Wulong are my like 3 go-tos for like a fun time. Oh yeah, King as well. I really enjoy playing King, but I'm rubbish with him.
Oh yeah.
Probably the person that have the biggest win ratio with is Law, I reckon.
Yeah, you like playing Law.
Yeah, he's just fun. He's just Bruce Lee, right?
Yeah.
How about you?
Like you, I've had some phases, but I think I would probably say Horang is my dude, because I always liked his hunting hawk move.
Sure.
And when I saw that it was used in a juggle all those years ago, I'm like, oh man, that's sick. So I kind of try to get really good at him.
Do you think the characters' personalities may have factored in? Because like I'm just saying this, like listing them. Like Lei and Law are like 2 of my favorites, and I guess growing up with like those Hong Kong martial arts films, that kind of makes sense. And for you picking Horang as well, like you're a huge fan of South Korean cinema.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's pretty like Shiba kind of guy.
Well, maybe, but I don't think that's the case, because I have a very aggressive playing style. So I like to not give my opponents like a breath.
Right.
So Horang's really good at pressure, but like his defense is pretty shit, I think.
Right. Because he's got 1 foot in the air at all times.
He's got 1 foot in the air at all time, like in the series. But which we'll get to. Who else? Yeah, I tried getting good with Brian, but he seems simple, but he's actually like very intricate. He's considered like S-tier character. Because of Ni, the famous South Korean player,
right?
Tekken, because you know the story behind that, yeah. Like the taunt. You know the taunt that he does where he lifts his knee and he laughs? Yeah. It's kind of like designed to be a throwaway move, and it doesn't do any damage, but what it does, it like breaks your block. It's unblockable. So I think Ni discovered a way to use that in battle, and then that's why he called himself Ni, because like he pioneered that move.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did they get rid of that
really
eventually,
popular. or no? It's still there. It's just if you know how to use it, use it. It's like, you know, the electric wind god fist moves. You know how to spam it. Just spam it. But yeah, no, Horang was my dude, and probably I tried getting good with Dragunov because like he's cool, like evil Russian guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Cool. Like I think like the characters in Tekken have such personality that like it adds a lot to the fun of the game as well. Like whenever you're trying to pick who you want to get good at, because like I guess it's a fairly balanced game as well. So like all the characters kind of have their own merits in terms of gameplay. So when you're picking who you want to get good at, like the character's personality takes a big role in that decision.
Do you think the characters you pick show kind of an inside of who you are as a person as well?
Yeah, I reckon. At least on a superficial level, like I mean, obviously, like King, I picked him because like I like that wrestling vibe of his, and the Law and Lei are there for the Hong Kong martial arts inspiration. Brian, I think, is just a violent dude. It's just my innate violence just coming through there.
Him laughing and beating up the characters. That's part of his taunt.
Right.
Yeah. But, I guess there's also, I tried to get used to some of the female characters, and I sort of got okay with Xiao Yu, but she's very technical. I enjoyed playing Elisa, the cyborg. She's fun. I usually pick her when I'm playing randomly because I like doing the head the move where she takes her head off and just gives it to the other player. Because that move,
That's
especially
fun.
if you're playing against people that don't know what they're doing, and you just walk up to them and go, That's what the fuck? and then after that, I can just be cheap and just shoot rockets from the other side of the screen.
Right, yeah.
Like, how do I dodge
she's
this?
she's a very interesting character as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what tier level she is, but I think she's kind of just a fan favorite because I think she's just a fun character to play. I got all right with Asuka as well. I find her moves kind of flow pretty well. I don't find her fight style especially interesting, but like...
I think her moveset is the same as Jun Kazama's, if I'm not mistaken. I think so, yeah.
Okay.
But I think she was only in Tekken 2, so... yeah, that character kind of brought back that style of martial arts, I guess.
The Kazama style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Boone's
Oh,
pick
yeah,
was
that's
Asuka.
right. Yeah.
He saw his player at the arcades. That was when Tekken 6 came out, I think.
Yeah. Surprisingly minor player in terms of like the Tekken lore. Considering that she is a Kazama. But yeah. Speaking of Tekken lore, shall we talk about this anime?
Yep, let's just get into it. We spent like 15 minutes talking about pizza and pasta and the video game.
Tekken Bloodline is a Netflix anime. The plot is set somewhere between Tekken 2 and Tekken 3. The setup is Jin's mum, Jun, gets murdered by Ogre, which is some kind of fighting demon.
That's about it.
After his mum gets murdered, Jin gets the help from his grandpa Heihachi to get revenge on Ogre. Heihachi is probably the sketchiest and one of the buffest grandpas that you ever see.
Not a very nice dude.
He's not a very nice dude. We were talking before about Hayao Miyazaki not being a very nice dad. Heihachi is probably worse. But Jin gets his help, and Heihachi trains Jin and tries to make him strong so that he can, lure out Ogre. In the hopes of luring out Ogre, Heihachi sets up the King of Iron Fist tournament so that he can gather lots of strong fighters around so that Ogre will be attracted to their fighting abilities.
You basically explained the plot of half the series.
That's basically what transpires, right?
You know how animes usually drag on for too long? And that becomes an issue. I think this series is the opposite of that. It's
only 6 episodes, 25 minutes max per episode.
It needed more time, even at least 12 episodes. I feel like this is the very bare bones of an anime. Where there's stuff in here that I did like. You know, I like how they incorporated juggling as part of the combat and the power hits. You know how the spark comes out in the games. They incorporate that into the show. The animation style is
not your favorite style.
It's a bit on and off. Like it's kind of what they did with Spriggan.
It's got that new age mix of CG and hand drawn animation.
There's a bit that's really noticeable towards like the end of the series where like you see basically a group of them running to help someone and their shoulders are just
they're kind of just running on the spot.
It just looks odd, but then sometimes it's okay. Like, you know, the fight scenes are they're enjoyable but not memorable.
Okay, I think that's fair. I really enjoyed the fight scenes. I feel like this series paid really close attention to the source material being the video game line. So like when you're watching the fight scenes, it really feels like you're watching like a Tekken fight, I guess. But with a bit more camera work involved. So like the speed of the motion, the impact of the hits, and like obviously they've used some recognizable movesets as well from all the characters. And they've even gone so far as to use the original sound design from like the Tekken 3 game. Like the sounds of the punches and yeah, the colors that you mentioned of all their like power moves, they're all taken directly from the games. So I
think I noticed that. Yeah,
they paid a lot of respect to the game series that this is based off.
Yeah, I think that's commendable. Yeah, for sure.
The plot as well follows like pretty much the plot of the game, even though the plot of the game is fucking bonkers, right?
Yeah, it is. I didn't remember all the Tekken lore, but like from what I see in the show, it follows Tekken 3 at least pretty closely, which is good. They didn't, and it is like as you said, it is a Tekken series. You know, they didn't put in Billie Eilish somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's everything. It's Tekken. You know, I think they did their best. I feel like this show was probably a victim of not enough budget, maybe.
Yeah, it is short.
It's too short.
But like, because the lore is so extensive, you know, it's kind of like they can't possibly cover everything and everyone in a series.
I think they covered enough people in this show, but they just needed to elaborate on the people that were shown. Because yeah, you're right. It is impossible because like, you cannot cover everyone in this show. And there's a scene where like the tournament has already started and then they kind of have to do like a montage of people losing,
which
but you
I'm
don't even see those
pissed
fights.
off a lot of people.
It definitely would have pissed off a lot of people. And even me, I was kind of like, I wish I wanted to see those fights.
Yeah, there was a point where like somebody like offhand mentions Paul Phoenix just fought a bear, and I'm like, don't tell us that happened. Show it to us.
Yeah, there's so much of us just having assuming stuff because like some of the fighters you don't even know that they've lost, but you just kind of have to assume it. I guess. I think was it Julia? Like you don't know who she loses to. You just assume she's lost because
that's true.
She beats,
actually,
she beats. I don't remember who she beats. Like martial law.
Yeah, she beats
does, Law.
Yeah.
And then King beats Yoshimitsu, which is Yoshimitsu. I reckon Yoshimitsu should have been in this show because he's like he's been in there since the first Tekken.
Yeah.
But you know, regardless of, you're gonna piss off.
There's too many characters in Tekken that you can't put them all in the show, and you can't give everybody focus, and obviously that's gonna piss off like the fans of those characters. But like it is short, but at the same time I feel like there is some wasted time in this show. Like you mentioned Julia, right? She's got a little side plot where she's trying to get the medallion back, and she tries to assassinate Hayashi briefly, and then she kind of drops off. Like that whole thing is pretty unnecessary, right?
I think they were trying to build up to something, but then it just got dropped.
So like that just ends up as wasted time. Time that could have been spent on Paul Phoenix fighting a grizzly bear or more Yoshimitsu stuff.
Or even just like the relationship between Jin, Xiaoyu and Huarang could have been like a pretty good story, you know. Especially with like Zhao Yu's character.
What did you think about Zhao Yu's characterization on that point?
Because she kind of just comes in like if you have no idea what Tekken is, it's like, who the fuck is this schoolgirl just coming in? I'm like, hi, I'm here now. Basically, in episode 3.
Was she more Yankee than her video game counterpart, or am I imagining it?
Maybe. Because a lot of this, according to the credits, the scripts were written by an American dude. Maybe?
I just always like saw Xiao Yu as like a pretty like down to earth girl who's pretty like studious and by the book, but the one that's presented in this anime is kind of like this anime girl kind of girl, you know?
Yeah.
Like kind of that annoying archetype.
Yeah. I mean, like they sort of tried to build her up a bit. They're like, oh yeah, she's a thinker, and then she loses her next match like right after.
So Mexican wrestler wearing a Jaguar mask.
Gets power.
I guess you can't strategize your way out of that fight.
So it's like it would have been interesting because much of the show is Jin's struggle between the Kazama and Mishima styles, which is his mother's style of like, you know, pacifist fighting per se, and Mishima, which is just like, ruthless brutality. So a lot of you see a lot of Heihachi like telling Jin like he has to let go of his humanity to win the fight or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, he fights. You see him fight Horang, and like he expects him to like kind of stomp his, face off, but he's like, no, just
That was never going to happen, though.
That was never going to happen. But like, it would have been interesting if the final, like getting into the round just before fighting Heihachi, was between Jin and Xiao Yu, because if he loses to Xiao Yu, because they're obviously good friends, I'm not sure. I don't think there's a love interest between them, but there's obviously maybe some tension between them in that sense. So it would have been like, what's at stake is like, if he doesn't beat Xiao Yu, he won't get to fight Ogre. But if he beats her, like he basically loses his, Kazama pacifist style. So like he would kind of have to choose like whether or not he's gonna beat the like even like cripple Xiao Yu like he crippled Leroy, I guess.
Right. Leroy Smith is in this character that I know very little about.
That's very odd because like he's a very new character, and he was a very controversial character because he was extremely OP when he was released.
Oh, okay.
So like people, pros who saw people pick like Leroy were like, they're trash players and stuff, like, because apparently he was pretty hack. Is he a fan
favorite at all, or
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. I'm not sure, but I just know that people despised him when he was first released because he was OP.
Because I was wondering like why would they put him in this show, like him specifically in this show, like out of everybody. Because
it's very true.
It's following the plot of Tekken 3, basically. And Leroy didn't make an appearance until Tekken, 6, maybe?
No, Tekken, the latest Tekken 7? Wasn't it? Tekken 7, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a pretty new character, yeah. I don't think he's a fan favorite. Yeah, I don't think... I think they just wanted someone that Americans could connect with. So,
but they got Paul there, right? That's what Paul's for. Because I found the focus on Paul a little bit interesting as well. But then like Paul's like an OG character, so I'm like, I guess like
they wanted someone that the modern audiences could connect to, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Because like Julia as well, she was wearing her new Tekken outfit as opposed to her Native American get-up from Tekken 3. I guess like they're trying to appeal to recent fans of the game as well. They can't just stick to the people that grew up with Tekken 3 like me and you perhaps.
Well, they could have if they had more episodes.
I don't know, like, because that's the thing, like Tekken 3 had so many interesting characters in it as well. Like they mention a lot of them. They mentioned Lei Wulong, they mentioned Yoshimitsu. Like all of those characters have kind of rich backstories that could have been worked in. But sidelining them for someone like Leroy Smith is a bit of an odd choice, I found.
The story that they're telling is not very original. Like there's heaps of animes that have done this story, like Naruto, Dragon Ball. And those have like a rich source of characters too, like with interesting backstories. So Tekken, there was a lot of potential for this show to be a really good anime because you've got that template there already. Then you can build up on it. You can build up maybe some of the jealousy between Horang and Jin, or you can actually see Paul Phoenix fight Kuma. You can see maybe what has made Leroy so vengeful against Heihachi.
Like the regular format for an anime tournament is 2 characters are facing off against each other, and you learn about a character's backstory through flashbacks throughout their episode as they're fighting, and then eventually they lose. So, I mean, it might seem inconsequential. I think I've mentioned something.
We talked about it a few times.
Yeah, about like how maybe flashbacks for a character that's not going to be in the series is a waste of time. But like that's generally how a anime tournament works, right? But yeah, Bloodline doesn't really follow that format. Like the focus is quite fixated on what's happening in the Mishima family, which I guess if you have only 6 episodes, you kind of have to make that call, right?
Yeah, which kind of sucks because I think there was effort put into the show, and there was a genuine faithfulness to capture the series, like the feel of the series, because it feels like Tekken, because there's a lot of fights and the pacing of the show is like breakneck, like they're going from one plot point to the next plot point to the next plot point, like as soon as they can. It's kind of like a fight, but yeah, I just wish that they spent a little bit more time, like even 12 episodes, just trying to flesh shit out. Like, there's been some great 12-episode animes, like, but this show is basically just a movie, really.
Yeah, would have worked just as well as a movie.
At least it's better than the live action adaptation that was released.
I don't really remember much of that, but
all I remember is Kazuya being a TV mogul.
Yeah, he's obsessed with ratings for some reason.
It's funny because like he talks about ratings, and then I misquoted a line of Kazuya saying the ratings are going through the roof, and we would quote it with each other within our friendship group.
Yeah.
But then when we watched it, like that line's not in there. But there's a deleted scene with Kazuya who says that line. Oh, okay. And I was just like, oh, man.
Must be the Mandela effect or something.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, like, you turn, like, Kazuya, one of the most evil badasses in video game, into, like, a, basically Rupert Murdoch. The ratings are going through the roof.
So,
and it's just like,
Kazuya doesn't make an appearance in this anime series.
There's the sequel fading, right?
Yeah.
They want to make a season 2.
Like, I genuinely hope they do get a sequel. Like, I hope they get more time to tell more of this Tekken story, because it is a pretty faithful adaptation to the source material, both in terms of like the plot, but also in terms of the action too. So I can kind of feel like the creative team's like diligence.
Yeah, they wanted to. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing like another series of this. They probably won't, because I don't think this show was that successful.
I think it's been pretty well received by fans of the game, which is like a pretty huge feat, because fans of this game like are very like temperamental, very fickle, so? I would say. Yeah. Like every time like a new patch comes out, everybody hates it. Every time like a trailer for it's weird because like every time a trailer for like one of the new games drops, they're like, this is fucking bullshit. But when the trailer
I think it's because they don't want to learn the new skills,
right? Yeah,
to learn the new systems.
But it's weird because when the trailer for this anime dropped, everybody was pretty happy with it, and like
that's true. It had a pretty positive reception. Yeah. I think the game community liked it, and right. I think if I saw this anime during the days that we were playing Tekken, I would have like come to your house, but Dan, this is the best shit ever. We would have just watched it in one sitting, and we would have just like been eating like popcorn and shit, and like I would have like sucked this anime in,
And like this would have been we've said in the past, like video game adaptations are so hard to pull off. Whether they be like live action movies or whether they be animated series, is like it's still a very hard thing to adapt to the screen, because video games are fucking ludicrous, man.
Yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, did we actually talk about Mortal Kombat in an episode?
Yeah, we did. We did. I think we mentioned it during.
During the martial arts episode. Yeah, it's like, you want to make a good story, but Mortal Kombat lore is so bonkers. And like the story in the video games, and this might be the same for Resident Evil as well, it's not really the best stories, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not like...
It's like a soap opera.
It's
like a WWE plotline.
Especially we're older now, and with like the background of stuff that I've watched over the years, like I guess my tastes have changed a bit. So when I watch something like this show now, I'm not gonna immediately love it. I'll enjoy it. Fights are good, but like, yeah, it's just, I guess it's just different now.
I think the safest way to do it is to be faithful to the games, like for better or worse, you know, like because as soon as you deviate from the games, fans are gonna hate on you. But if you're faithful, like even if it's crap, people will be like, at least they were faithful to the game.
I think so too. Yeah, I think that's why Mortal Kombat was pretty well received amongst audiences.
Man, let's face it, Hideyuki Sanada and Joe Taslim saved that fucking movie.
You mean Hiroyuki Sanada?
Yeah. What did I say?
You said Hiroyuki Kisanada?
Okay. Hiroyuki Sanada.
Like. Yeah. Because, I was talking about that movie with a mate the other day, and we're just saying, like, man, the first 10 minutes of that movie were like, this is going to be sick. And then it wasn't. It was just like, it was like just a different movie.
As soon as Arcanum was mentioned, they lost me.
But with Tekken, the feel of it is quite consistent. A lot of the lessons are fairly cookie cutter, which is why I think like this anime is just like the tournament template, but they put like a Tekken paint over it. But then there's like, that'll do. But like, I don't know. Maybe Netflix only ordered 6 episodes, so they just had to be really brutal. And like really give the bare bones. Because they spent too much money on making another video game adaptation that they've recently just cancelled.
A few more episodes than this one. Yeah.
Imagine if they got all that budget and put into this show. I reckon this could have been a really like fantastic show, you know?
That said, I don't think they made as effective use of those 6 episodes as they could have. Like, cut out Leroy Smith, cut out Julia's story. Too much reused footage as well. I feel like Jin had a lot of like flashbacks to things that we had already seen. I think it could have been a bit tighter. And when you only have 6 episodes to work with, you really need to be, you really need to choose your plot points well.
But do you reckon that they're gonna use that in this? They're planning to use that in the second season though?
What,
like some of those
Julia
plot
Chang
points,
stuff?
Julia Chang and Leroy.
Well, I'll be surprised if Leroy Smith comes back. The Julia Chang thing, the medallion doesn't really play a big part in the game series. Yeah, in fact, I think Tekken 3 is the only time where it actually like is mentioned. So no, I don't think the Julia Chang thing is gonna pan out either. Because like the rest of her story is just her trying to reforest her native land with the help of Ganryu. So like,
But Ganryu is a bodyguard.
Ganryu's a bodyguard. Yeah, he works for the Mishimas, which is in line. And he's meant to fall in love with Julia at some point. Because he was in love with her mum. Which is kind of weird now that I see it.
Very Japanese. Actually, there's one point in this series. It's when Jin. It's after Jun has died and Jin's seeking Heihachi, and apparently he's been like standing out the front or like waiting, trying for days. And then it's like, we keep seeing you all the time, and we still keep rejecting you. It's like, tell them that I'm Jin Kazama. It's like, oh, and it's just like, as
why
if he
didn't you
would
say
have
that
said
earlier?
It's just like, oh, and then I'm just like, that's all right. It's just, you know,
but at least we didn't have to watch that time, Darby.
But it's just kind of like, you could have just got up. Like, they didn't need to say that he waited for 3 days. It's not like, it's not like Fight Club or anything.
You watched this in English, eh?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did want to make a mention of that. I thought this was an American adaptation because fucking Netflix didn't let me switch to Japanese.
Why? It let me switch?
Because I remember the first day, I watched this pretty much as soon as it came out. Because I think I'd just come home from a night of drinking. Then I got home and I wasn't like, I didn't feel like going to sleep yet. And then I saw, Tekken, I've heard about this, and I heard it's all right. And I watched it, and like, why is it in English? Because, like, in Netflix tracks that you watch stuff in a foreign language, so it'll automatically choose the original language with the English subtitles.
Right.
But it didn't. I'm like, okay, like, so I went to go switch and look for it, and it wasn't there. It was only English and English with other English original. So this is the original source of language. But probably because I was drunk, I didn't see that, the 3 dots next to the, I probably didn't see that where you can actually switch it to Japanese. So I watched the first 3 episodes in English dub, and it ruined it for me, man. Like, Heihachi does not sound like Heihachi, and I felt like I was watching slightly more edgy Saturday morning cartoon, and it's just like, man,
it's weird. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure what the original language of this is, because like I watched it in Japanese, and like every source on the internet refers to it as the Japanese dub.
Oh, really?
And
okay,
like the subtitles is not accurate to the Japanese, like what they're saying. Like the subtitles is what the English localization is.
Just like the straight up. Yeah, okay, no, that's interesting. Maybe,
So I have a feeling English might be the original language for this series.
It doesn't work in English. Like, it's, I was just like, I don't want to watch this in, like, I think that sucked out some of the enjoyment.
I just find Japanese voice acting more engaging in general than English voice acting, but that's just my preference, actually they got a lot of the, pretty much most of the characters, the video game Japanese voice actors did the voice acting for this series.
Oh, did they?
For the Japanese dub, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's also a nice touch.
That's good. I mean, I wonder, because I don't think I watched Leroy's episodes when he was speaking. Like, I think when he came on, I'd already switched it to the dub. So I wonder if they got because in the games, they speak their original languages.
They speak their language, Well, in the later games anyway.
I reckon they should have just done that, like pull to drive my car and just have them speak their original language and just
I don't know, because they're like, this series is also for people that have never played Tekken and never seen Tekken. So it might have been a bridge too far to expect people to just accept that everybody understands each other, even though they're all speaking different languages in a TV series.
Don't worry about those people, man. They're not going to watch this show anyway. They're going to watch...
They should just have King speaking Jaguar and everybody understands him for some reason.
Exactly. Yep. They should just... there you go. Be experimental.
What was your favorite fight?
Oh, fuck. I'm trying to remember. I just watched this last night as well. I guess probably the Horang Jin and the final fight with Heihachi and Jin, and when Xiao Yu gets power drivered because, like, I'm pretty sure she'd be dead, but just take it like a champ. But I did enjoy the Jin Horang fight. But this kind of show, I wonder if I had seen this that many years ago, if I would have been upset if Horang lost, because I'm a Horang player. But like in this show, when he lost, I'm like, oh well, that's all right.
Also, because they're basing on a flaw. So like, he did lose in the games as well. So you can't really fault it.
He's not a biker. He's not a smart aleck. He's just always in his taekwondo outfit, you know?
True.
Yeah. It would have been cool for them to just elaborate on their stories a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I think they had enough time to do it.
They did.
If there was more,
if they didn't waste it on other things.
Like, Nina's character, she's wasted in all the mediums I've seen.
Nina's in this, you're right.
Because she's a pretty interesting character. Yeah, you didn't even remember. She gets beaten by Xiao Yu.
Yeah.
Gets her neck sort of snapped, but not really. No, she just gets chopped.
Yeah, she gets chopped.
Yeah. Nina's the one that does all the snapping of the necks and stuff. But yeah, like, it seemed like Nina had... I'm not sure if I'm just confusing her from the lore of her games in the show. I'm not sure if they addressed it, but she has something more going on in her mission.
I think that is like from Tekken 4 onwards.
Okay.
Yeah, the end of Tekken 3 is when she gets put into cryo sleep. And then she wakes up and like Steve is like her son or whatever.
Because from the games, Nina's a pretty interesting character. So it would seem odd for Nina just to go just because she wants to fight a bunch of people.
Yeah, true.
So it's kind of like yeah, and like because you're saying the character designs and stuff are so like colorful in the show in the games.
Yeah,
like that kind of distracts from the show because you see that there's these different characters who are quite outlandish looking and have like their character designs like showing that they're probably part of a bigger picture, but that it's kind of like. Nah, they're just side characters in the show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know. Like I thought Nina was gonna do something more in this season, but she doesn't really do anything.
Well, they've still got her for season 2, I guess.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be season 2? Because I don't think there's going to be season 2.
I think there's going to be a season 2. I think Netflix animation is cheap enough for them to invest a bit more money.
But they've cut a lot of budget to the animation departments and
I don't know. I guess because like Tekken already has a built-in fan base, and I think as long as that fan base is satisfied with this anime, then that kind of merits a renewal. But you know, it's Netflix, so who the fuck knows? Netflix just cuts everything randomly.
I'm honestly interested in watching a Spriggan season 2 than Tekken. Actually, there's something that Spriggan and Tekken share in common that I think is a detriment to both shows is the lack of an ending theme song, man. Where's my cool and animation ending theme?
I just skipped the end anyway, Tubby.
No, man,
play the next episode now. I don't have time.
you gotta someone made that 1 minute and a half to like add to the theme of the show. It's like with Attack on Titan with Rumbling, man. If you listen to that, it's very catered towards the show. Adds that little bit of extra dimension.
Netflix doesn't allow for that though, because Netflix, as soon as the episode's done, it's already got that loading bar saying next episode is playing.
Man,
so like, why would you put any effort into your end credits if that's gonna happen? Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I'm a big fan of like anime ending themes as well. Like back in the day, like even Full Metal Alchemist days, I was like, oh man, these tracks, they hit different than the openings.
Yeah, they do, man. Yeah.
But yeah, Netflix ruin it for everyone.
It's too. This show is very like. The mindset is very content. Like you're gonna watch it and then you're gonna forget about it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be singing opening Tekken theme song like Haruka Kanata at karaoke. You're not gonna be singing Rolling Star anytime soon.
Well,
you're not gonna be singing Rumbling anytime soon.
It did kind of make me want to play Tekken, so I guess that's something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Like on a brief side note, it's like you look at something like Guilty Gear Strive, that soundtrack, man, I bought the game because of the soundtrack. I was like, what? This soundtrack's fucking awesome. I'm horrible at this game.
Because the Tekken soundtrack is good too. It's just the Tekken Bloodline soundtrack isn't.
They
as
try
good.
to pay homage to it a bit. It's sort of like that kind of techno-ish thing.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's good for the game, but it's not something I'm gonna listen to regularly, except for the classic like Tekken 3 song.
They should have used Tekken 3 music, man. I don't know why they didn't. They missed a trick in that. Because the Tekken 3 soundtrack is dope. Like
it's pretty iconic.
Yeah. Very, very recognizable.
Imagine if they used that when Jin is about to like kill Ogre. And they played that like really classic. That one. Yeah, man, that would have I would have just given the show 5 stars. Even all my critics like, nah, I want a second season now. I would have just like, damn, man, like that would have been such a like, I would have cummed. Like if that happened.
Yeah, man, because they are like playing on nostalgia. So like, why not lean into it? I guess.
Maybe they couldn't afford the rights. Maybe Bandai Namco was like, you want to use this? that's an extra 20 million.
I mean,
It's like,
but all of the producers of this show seem to be like game devs from Bandai Namco. So
are they? Okay,
it
yeah.
seems like I do
yeah.
a little bit of. I like recognize a couple of names, and yeah, they seem to be like game devs. So yeah, which I guess explains why it is so faithful to the source material. But yeah, like I think it's a solid effort. I think in terms of like video game adaptations, even the animated stuff, like probably like I enjoyed this as much as Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, which is also not, it's pretty flawed, but like enjoyable if you know the games.
Yeah, that's the same with I have my feeling for the Street Fighter Alpha movie.
Yeah.
I remember I bought that on DVD like years and years ago. I mean, like back in like I think I was like 12 years old. I remember I bought it and I really wanted to watch it, but my parents made me help them like clean out the garden for like 9 hours, and I was like in excruciating pain because I really wanted to watch it. Because we got home, we bought it, can't watch it. It's just like, nah, you got to help me cut these branches.
I remember there was a Mortal Kombat animated series. And I rented like a video cassette from Video Easy, and it was like the first episode of the series, and I thought it was supposed to be an animated movie, so I finished watching it and I was like, this is unfinished. I want to know what happens next. Why isn't it finished? And then I complained to my parents, and then my parents took it back to the store and were like, they said like, this is unfinished. We want our money back. And I'm not 100% sure what transpired because I was a little kid. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we got our money back for it.
Your parents carried their way into a refund. That's pretty funny.
But that was shit. I'm pretty sure, like, even as a kid, I recognized that was a shit product. And this Tekken Bloodline, I don't think is a shit product. I think it's...
I don't think it's shit, yeah.
It's pretty decent. Yeah.
Animation's gone a long way, like, like I said, the animation style is not my favorite, but the fight scenes are good. The story, it's good. Like, they're following the Tekken lore, so it's going to be good. It's a bit bonkers. I just think my issue is that it was too short and that I watched the first half of it in English. I was just, man, I can't even remember Heihashi's English voice, but I'm like, that's not Heihachi. He's a Heihachi wannabe. Like, be gone, wannabe. Because to be honest, like the other voices, they were okay. They still gave off that, Saturday morning Disney vibe that I'm just like, I don't know, this doesn't fit. But I think Heihashi's voice actor, the voice just didn't suit Heihachi.
All right. Well, I would be interested to know if anybody that doesn't know what Tekken is, if they enjoyed this series,
Yeah, that's very true. They're like, what the fuck? Why is there a bear? Why didn't I see this fight?
Why they talk? Yeah. Because, Tekken's pretty weird. And
Tekken is pretty weird, yeah.
I don't know.
That would be very interesting to see outsider's point of view.
Don't know how accessible it is. But, like, then again, like, who doesn't know what Tekken is?
Why is this guy wearing a Jaguar mask?
Weird. But guys, what did you think of this anime series? Did you enjoy it as a fan of the Tekken game franchise? Did you happen to catch it as not a fan of the franchise, as somebody that doesn't have any idea what Tekken is? Either way, let us know what you thought about it. You can get in touch with us at twoasianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram at twoasianblokes to see what we're up to. Man, I want to play Tekken.
Yeah.
Tekken.
Spam electric wind god fist. Like Heihachi does a little bit in the anime. But he doesn't say Doria. Just goes, oh.
That's right. He didn't say Doria. He should have said Doria.
He didn't say Doria. Should have used the soundtrack and should have said Doria.
Yeah, it's true.
No Dorias. 0 Dorias out of 5.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's it. That's it from us then.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right, see ya.
Bye-bye.